You think your job is bad? You have not met the Groom of the Stool. That was an actual royal title in Tudor England, and the job description was exactly what it sounds like. His entire career was helping the King of England use the toilet, wiping included. And here's the part that breaks your brain. This was not a punishment job. It was one of the most desired positions in the entire royal court, because whoever held that title spent more private, unsupervised time with the king than almost anyone alive, which meant whispered favors, secret gossip, and real political power earned one very specific way. So today, we are doing 5 real jobs that actually existed in human history, and every single one of them is somehow worse than yours. Job number 2, the Gong Farmer. In medieval England, before plumbing existed, human waste piled up in cesspits under outhouses, and someone had to empty them at night by hand with a shovel. That person was called a gong farmer, and I promise you, gong did not mean what you're hoping it meant. The smell was so overwhelming that gong farmers were legally required to live outside city walls because nobody wanted to be near them or apparently downwind of them. But here's the twist. It paid extremely well, better than most skilled trades in the entire city, because somebody had to do it, and almost nobody was willing. Job number 3, the knocker-upper. Before alarm clocks were affordable, how did an entire factory town wake up on time for a 6 a.m. shift? They hired a human alarm clock, a real job in industrial-era Britain, where a person walked the streets before dawn, tapping on your bedroom window with a long stick, sometimes literally shooting dried peas at the glass with a pea shooter until you woke up and confirmed you were awake. Some knocker-uppers had over 100 customers on one route. Every single morning, rain or freezing cold, and they had to remember every single window. Job number 4, and this one is genuinely disturbing, the Leech Collector. In Victorian England, doctors believed bloodletting cured almost everything, and leeches were the tool of choice. But somebody had to catch the leeches. So leech collectors, often women, waded bare-legged into stagnant ponds and let the leeches attach directly to their skin, then pulled them off one at a time to sell to hospitals. Do that daily for years and you're left with permanent scarring, chronic blood loss, and a very real risk of the diseases those ponds were also carrying. It was one of the lowest paid jobs in the entire country for one of the most horrifying job descriptions ever written down. Job number 5, the whipping boy. This one is almost too strange to be real, but it is. In several European royal courts, young princes were raised alongside another boy, their own age, a commoner, specifically so that when the prince misbehaved, the other boy got physically punished instead, because the theory at the time was that only God had the authority to physically discipline royalty. So tutors legally could not lay a hand on the prince himself. The idea was that the prince would feel so guilty watching his best friend get whipped for his mistakes that he would simply behave better, which, if you know anything about spoiled royal children throughout history, worked roughly as well as you'd expect. So here's the pattern hiding underneath all 5 of these jobs. Every single one of them existed because society needed a problem solved, and somebody, usually someone poor, desperate, or with absolutely no other options, agreed to be the solution. The groom cleaned up after power. The gong farmer cleaned up after cities. The knocker-upper solved a problem alarm clocks would eventually make obsolete. The leech collector and the whipping boy both quite literally took someone else's pain, one physically, one socially, so somebody higher up the ladder didn't have to. And now look at your job, whatever you do for a living, however bad your Monday feels, you almost certainly did not sign up this morning to be whipped for a prince, or wade into a leech pond, or shovel a cesspit by hand at midnight. So the next time work feels unbearable, remember, somewhere in history, someone had a genuinely worse Tuesday than you. Which job on this list would you have refused first? Tell me in the comments and let's see which one everyone hates the most.